Please, thanks, Coop. Everyone, please excuse my voice. I'm still sick. Today is the first day that I'm actually even talking again. But I'm Alicia Miller, and I am the COO slash founder of MNS Association. Basically, I assign officials, table staff, and we have teams with the organization. Right now, I'm primarily working on the administrative side, which is with the officials and the tables, and I'm an official myself. But I just wanted to go over a couple of things because I assign for shoe companies primarily. And of course, officials are always looking for higher pay for AAU, and I am one of the higher paying assigners out there. However, but I expect quality, not just quantity on the courts. And for that to happen, we need to go through continuous training. Just in overview of the season and what we saw so far this summer, all officials need training. All of us have something that we can work on this off season to make us better officials. Be it that it's the rule book, our positioning, our physicality, our um, our knowledge of how to adjudicate the rule book, not just reading it. It's just different mechanics. It's a whole lot of things that we can work on. And what I am offering is these free trainings, not just for us officials, but for the coaches, the ADs, everybody to be able to learn what we do as officials so that everybody is on the same page and know that what's supposed to be done so that there's a better understanding of what calls are being made and why. The Zoom calls will be held every Thursday. Coop will go over that information shortly. And like I said, any officials, ADs, coaches that would like to participate, it's free in the state that they're in because we'll be going over NFHS rules. I just want to briefly go over my expectations for my organization. When you wear the MNS brand, my expectation is of professionalism, and that means that um, everything, your appearance, your attitude, um, responsibility, accountability, all of those things matter because these people are paying money because they expect a certain quality, and we can't keep expecting them to pay us money when we're not giving them quality. Um, Part of MNS Association is a membership fee. I charge a membership fee, which for the 2026 year it was $100. $35 of that was applied to IABO membership. Coop will give you more information because he's on the IABO board, but it helps with meetings like this with the trainings so that we can become better officials. The other part of your fees is just for yearly operational fees. That means that you get top pay, you don't get any signer's fees deducted from your money. Of course, I always pay top dollar. However, it's optional. If you decide that you don't want membership, that's fine. But understand if you still get games, the members get priority on getting games, and non members will pay a $5 per game non membership fee. That's flat across the board. So, example, this weekend when I was paying $40 a game, members got paid $40. Non members will get 35. It's clear. It's not, oh, what is he paying this one? What is he paying that? It's clear. Either you're a member or you're a non-member. Members, of course, this weekend all work because, like I said, members get priority. So if I have limited courts and all the members want to work, non-members will not work. That's the way it goes. I just wanted to clear that up because there was some confusion about how that goes. As far as your pay, depending on when the client pays, I'll send out each tournament and let you know when you receive your compensation. I have all forms of payment, so you will get paid. I have never had anybody say that they did not get paid from me. The next thing that I expect is punctuality. If you are an official, me asking you to get to a game 45 minutes before the start of your first game is not unconscionable. If you're a varsity level official, you should be used to getting to your games an hour early anyway. The clients do not want to see officials walking into a game at 5 minutes before tip off. They want to see that you're there and you're prepared and ready for your games. That's the main thing I needed to cover. Oh, and one other thing, I will be issuing out we will be having ID cards, and they'll say, Cooper, show your picture of them later. But each officials, scorekeepers, and the mission staff will get them. You are responsible for having them if you whatever events that you work for me, because it will get you admitted into the facility. If you lose your ID card, it is your responsibility to pay for another one, or you'll end up paying to get into the gym. This is to help facilitate the process of you getting into the gym, especially if you're working the second shift without standing in line. They'll be able to see your badge and you'll be able to walk in. That's pretty much what I would like to cover, Coop. So I don't have to talk so much. If there's anything that you have questions on, I am always available to answer questions via text, because I'm answering my messages all of the time. So I said, if anything is needed, please feel free to reach out and ask me. If you need clarity or you have a misunderstanding of something, please come to me directly and I'll answer your question so that you don't get miscommunication from someone else and then want to hold me responsible for it. Okay. I want to thank everyone for working for MNS Association. I hope that this training process that we're putting in place is going to be helpful, not just for you for MNS, but for you throughout your school seasons, collegiate, no matter what level you work. The idea is to make the officiating community become a stronger, respected community with more integrity than it has right now. Thank you. Coop?
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Clarence Cooper. I am Illinois high school basketball clinician, as well as a Chicago Public Schools basketball assigner, and I am the Illinois Board 267 president and interpreter, rules interpreter. Myself personally, been officiating. This will be my 26th season license, but I've been refereeing over 30 years total. And again, we're just here to try to get more people to join the officiating community, as well as those that are interested in working the shot clock or the score table. We're just trying to add more people to both of those areas, because they're going to be definitely needed. As you know, for those that have been around, for those that don't know, and for those that do know, starting 26-27 season, the Illinois High School Association will start using the shot clock for all boys and girls varsity games, and it will be used in the state tournament series. So I did talk to the IHSA today for about a good 30-45 minutes, just to try to get a few things clarified, to see where they are with a few issues or a few concerns that they may or may not have been aware of. The only concrete information that I can share at this time is that all schools must have the shot clocks properly mounted on them in the main gym on your backboards, secured and unobstructed. That is mandatory. For those schools that don't have it, they haven't given us a final decision, but they said what they're probably going to lean towards is those schools may or may not be able to have their games count towards state series, which means that the school, let's say if I coach at school A and somebody else is at school B, but school B has shot clock and school A doesn't, and school B is supposed to play at school A, but I don't have a shot clock. So I'm going to probably have to go to a school that has shot clock in order for my games to count towards the state tournament series. Again, I don't know all of the details. It hasn't been finalized yet, but from what I was told, that's kind of the direction that they're leaning towards. If that changes, of course, they're going to send out documentation and information and things like that. But potentially, that's kind of where they're going at this point. But again, if that changes, they'll let us know. So I'm just going to talk about that part as well as the rules. This is what we're going to be training on with our basketball officials. And just know that right now the scorekeepers training will be separate from the basketball officials training until further notice. So because we want to make sure that because we know we got different levels of officiating from first year to veteran officials as well as the scorekeepers, but we want to the officials are definitely going to get the training that the scorekeepers get because it's important that officials know how to read the scorebooks and work the score table as well. Now, when it comes to shot clock, that's kind of the X factor at this point because some schools have shot clocks, some are currently getting them installed. Some of them may have, let's say, Nevco as their scoreboard, but they may not have Nevco as their shot clock. They may have a third party company as their shot clock, which means that the functionality of their shot clock may be different than what the Nevco shot clock would be had they had bought the Nevco shot clock. So we're going to kind of get off into that, again later. But these are things that we all need to know because these are things that are going to be important because it can affect the game one way or the other, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So, and that's why it's important. We want people to know how to properly, know how to work the score table as far as the scorebook, the clock, and the shot clock. Officials definitely need to get that experience. So I highly am going to recommend, and this is what a lot of the clinicians are going to be teaching at these camps and clinics, to recommend that officials, if at all possible, anywhere you can, get familiar with working a shot clock, get familiar with, keeping the scorebook. All of these things are important because this is going to help you when you actually are refereeing on the court. It'll help you to understand what the scorebook should look like in a certain situation. When the shot clock should reset to 35, when it should reset to 20, all of those types of things. That kind of helps your game management move along a little bit smoother when you kind of understand what should happen in certain situations. Okay, so we'll cover that in our officials training. Again, officials will be getting the score table, training side of things as well as the officiating side of things. Those that's going to be just strictly to learn the score table. We're just going to focus on just the score table, the shot clock, game clock situations, things like that. All right. Any questions at this point about anything from anybody? Feel free to just unmute and ask your question, or either you can put it in chat. No questions?
Coop, can you let them know who the MNS clinician
Yeah.
training staff is for me, please?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I was about to actually go to that part there. All right. So our staff members consist of a variety of people. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. If you can't see it, just let me know. Hopefully you guys can see it. Can you see the screen?
No.
You don't? Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Maybe I need to do this. Let me move the stuff to the center.
I see it now.
Okay. You see it? You guys see it? You see the names on the screen?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
we have to see it.
Okay, great. So these are going to be our staff members here that are going to be providing officials training as well as scorekeeper training. I myself will probably be one of the lead people that'll be pretty much doing a lot of it. But these others, experienced officials, most of these officials have worked state tournament series, if not state championship level games, multiple state championship level games in IHSA in Illinois. Some have, the majority have. I know there are maybe a few that haven't worked a state championship game, but they have definitely worked the state series for several years or more. So we have a great veteran team of officials that can train not only officials, but as well as the score table and the staff members that work the score tables. So they'll be there as well as Alicia Miller and Kendra Roper will also be helping with the score tables training. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, feel free. Some of you all obviously know us already, but those that are new, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions. And again, it doesn't have to be, just the day of a game. You may run into a situation, you worked the game or you saw a play or, you're not sure of it. You just want to get some clarification. Feel free to reach out to us. We do this all year long. There's some officials that's on this call right now that can attest that we do training all year long, so we want you to learn. We want you to learn and grow so that way you can get a better understanding of the rule and the intent of the rule. Now, with that being said, I'll say this up front. When it comes to officiating, yes, you need to know the rules. Without question, you have to know the rules. But there's also judgment that you have to use. But you can't use your judgment if you don't know the rules. Let me say that again. You can't use your judgment if you don't know the rules. You have to know the rules. There's no substitute for not knowing the rules. The expectation for officials is to know the rules and how to apply the rules properly in the right situation. Again, there will be some areas and times in the game where you have to use your judgment on what you saw or from the angle that you were at. And again, this is why we're encouraging not only officials to be a part of this officials training, but also coaches and assistant coaches and things like that. So if you know that there's some people, or maybe on your coaching staff, or just some fellow coaches that you are familiar with, invite them to come out. Because again, we get it. That everybody thinks that they know the rules, and in some cases they may have an idea, but they may not be 100% accurate. So we want to clarify those situations and those rules so that you get a better understanding of what should happen in a certain situation or how things should go in a certain situation. Now, I'll say this too: those that have been a coach before that decided to become an official, I can guarantee you this: it will definitely open your mind up a little bit better when it comes to coaching, because now you can coach your team based on, oh, I know what the official should be looking at in this block charge play. I know what the official should be looking at if this person was hand checking, or whatever illegal screen, whatever the case may be. You'll have a better understanding of what's supposed to happen or how it should happen. So again, and feel free to invite, like Alicia said, invite fellow coaches. Even if you want some of your players to be a part of it, that's even better, because guess what? Now they can understand the rules and the intent behind the rules. So these things that we wanted to, just to kind of just touch on tonight. Um, Again, if you guys got questions, again, feel free to reach out to us, because we want to make sure that this information is out here, because what we're realizing, and you all know this as well to some degree, that it seems like, and this is just my opinion, but it seems like there's more, when you see a lot of these games, it's like coaches versus officials, when it kind of needs to be coaches and officials working together for the sake of the kids. So this is why we want to try to, bring this information together, bring the parties, coaches and officials together so that we all can learn and grow together. And again, nobody's perfect. Even though we might put that referee uniform on, people think that, oh man, that's not, that referee, this, that. We're not perfect. We're human. We're going to miss a call here and there. That's going to happen. Just like players miss shots, and sometimes coaches, you might call a play that you think like, maybe I shouldn't have called that play, or maybe they just didn't execute it right, or whatever the case may be. It happens. But, at the end of the day, we have to, what they say, the next play, we have to move on to the next play. So again, these just a few topics that we want to touch on. Now, for those that are brand new, we're going to talk about real quick, and I'll kind of say this to the end because I know this can be a little more lengthy. But for those that are experienced and already know what to do, just know that the IHSA is going to open up their registration for the new season, the 26-27 season. Is going to start on May 1st. Okay, it's going to start on May 1st. Here's the information. This is the old 25-26 information, but the 26-27 information is right here. Okay, so when you go to the IHSA website, ihsa.org, and again, we'll share this information with you via email so you guys can read through this. But this is the information you need to go and read and get familiar with. They talk about the registration period again, which starts May 1st. I guess the main thing I want you to just know is it talks about the registration fee, but it also talks about a late fee for each season. So like the fall season, anybody to register after fall August 1st, there'll be a $30 late fee. For the winter sports, which is basketball, obviously, if you register on or after October 1st, there'll be a $30 late fee on top of the registration fee, which is $85. Okay, so the key thing is try to get your registration fee taken care of up front, as early as possible. Once May 1st hits, you can register anytime, 24/7 online. The IHSA will do a background check, just so you know. It's, for lack of a better phrase, a soft background check. Not saying it is, literally soft, but just it's a soft background check. But they will do a background check. Again, you pay online. To register, you click the button, the purple button here, and you can begin your registration. Obviously, and they have a new thing that's been out for a couple of years now for a provisional license, and this is probably good if you have any student athletes that are interested in officiating. If they're 15 to 16-year-olds only, they can sign up for what they call a provisional license, which means that they can go through the same training as the officials, but they can only work elementary games up to freshman level games. They cannot work any games past a freshman level, and they must work with a certified or registered official. Okay, they cannot work the games like by themselves or with another official that has a provisional license. But again, they can register, but they have to contact the IHSA to register for that because there's a certain protocol that they have to follow because they're still considered quote unquote minors. But they can register to become an official in the IHSA, and that they started this right after the pandemic ended because again of the official shortage. So we're just trying to get more people to become officials. All right. Any questions about the IHSA registration in general? Again, I'll share this link. I'll put it in the chat for you for those that want to look at it now. Feel free to look at it and check it out. Again, you can go back and revisit this website anytime you want. Any questions about the IHSA registration? No questions? All right. All right. What else was I on? Oh, so again, the score table staff, these are some of the staff members. So again, they may not be at all of the trainings, but they will be at a few of the trainings here and there. So, just feel free to, open up, ask questions. Again, that's what we're here for. We want you guys to, bombard us with as many questions as you have, so that you can get, become better at officiate. Yes, the CPS background check. All right. So for those that are interested in working for Chicago Public Schools, okay, Franklin, I'm gonna come back to your question in just a second. It starts May 1st. The IHSA registration starts May 1st. Those officials that are interested in working for Chicago Public Schools, even if you are a current staff member with Chicago Public Schools, everyone, and I mean absolutely everyone, must complete a CPS background check. That is mandatory. It's no way around it. The lawyer said everybody has to do it, even if you're a current employee. So that's part of the process. Alicia will go through that in more detail and kind of explain that, but you have to fill that out. You must go take your paperwork in after you filled it out to the background check facilities. I think at the time I think it was like a $65 fee, if I remember correctly, or something like that. If it changed, I can find that out and let you know later.
5250.
6250. Okay. All right, 6250. You have to go in person to get fingerprinted. It's electronic fingerprinting. They have different facilities. It's called the Accurate Biometric facilities. I know they have one on 55th right off the Dan Ryan. I know they have one in the south suburbs, west suburbs. So again, you can do that. So we're encouraging people, if you want to work for CPS, get that paperwork and stuff done now. Because the background check process, it may take a while for them to process everything because they receive a lot of background checks on a daily basis. And when I say they receive a lot, they probably receive a minimum of 200 background checks a day, maybe more than that. So we don't want your paperwork to get lost in the shuffle, but we want to make sure that you get all your paperwork cleared by the time the season starts. So if you are interested, let us know. The background check. Oh no, once you do the background check, CPS background check, you only have to do it one time. But I will let you know this, that they will do what they call a random refresh every so many years, which means that, once you do it, let's say if you completed it today, let's say, maybe in a few days or a few weeks or however long it takes for them to do your background check, say you come back cleared in a few years or a couple of years or how often they decide to do it, they will run your name back through the system again. But you don't have to pay for a background check or go do a background check again because you're already in their system. So that's the beauty of having a background check done. Once you've done it, then you're good. But they will send you an email when they do a refresh. They have to notify you, letting you know, hey, we're going to run your name back through the system again. Whenever that time may come. Again, if you haven't had any problems or any issues from the moment you took the background check up until the next time they run your name, then you're fine. If you do have any past history, and I guess I really need to say this part because this is the part that we found out this year for a lot of officials that kind of threw some people in a loophole. If you do a background check, I'm just going to let you know now, they do what I call a quote unquote hard background check. And what that means is they actually do a background check going back to almost the day you were born. So anything you may have done, maybe you took a piece of candy from the candy store when you was 15 years old, or and you got arrested or whatever. I'm just throwing just random stuff out there, but my point is they're going to go back far. Most background checks, and I believe even with the IHSA, I think they only go back maybe 5 or 7 years or something like that, or 10 at the max. But the CPS background check, they're going to go back as far as they can. So again, if you have anything on your record, or if you had anything on your record way back when, just possibly be prepared to try to get that stuff cleared as fast possible, so that way you can begin to get cleared from the CPS background check department, and you can be cleared to officiate CPS sports. Until you have a cleared status, you cannot officiate CPS CPS sports at all. Any sport, not just basketball, but any sport. Okay, so again, make sure, and Alicia put the information in the chat if you have any questions, and we can email you the documentation for that if you're interested. Now, that's not to scare people away, but it's just letting you know if you do the background check, because everybody that's on here that works for CPS or has officiated CPS this past season, we've all had to go through the background check. So again, just want to let you know that that's kind of the process. So it can be a little slow. And I'll say this too, it might be even a little slower now because we're nearing the end of the school year. So we have a lot of CPS staff members or teachers or administrators, whatever. They may be transferring from one school to another. So a lot of people, some people may have to reapply for different jobs, and they may have to do another background check again. So again, it may be a little lengthy time. So usually the background check will come back in a few business days, maybe 3 to 5 business days. Sometimes it's been a few weeks. Sometimes for some people, it may have been a few months, depending on when you get it done. So again, the faster you get it done, the faster you can get your results back. So, and again, we want to try to get everybody cleared before the season starts, which will be in November for the IHSA season to begin. All right, but to do any games for like with Alicia Miller or any other games you want to do, rec league or stuff like that, you can do those once you get your IHSA license. We encourage you to get your IHSA license, to work those games. Now, some people you'll find out don't have an IHSA license, and they may be working at the local park district refereeing games. They can do that, but now if something happens from a legal liability perspective, you might be putting yourself in a legal situation that you can't get out of. Okay, so that's why we encourage a lot of people to get the IHSA license, because you do have some insurance coverage that comes with being a licensed official. And those are things that are very important to make sure that you cover yourself, so that way you don't get into any, quote unquote, legal issues or possible legal issues that may occur. All right. Yes. Thank you, Alicia. So if you have maybe you have something on a past record that you need to get expunged, we do have an official who's retired from the Cook County office that he has some connections on the inside that maybe can get your paperwork process. He can kind of lead you in that direction. Tracy Carruthers, who's also an IHSA state finals basketball official, he'll be at the trainings as well. He can help you if you need to get something expunged. You can talk to him. He can kind of guide you in the right direction and kind of speed up that process so you can get that information taken care of off your record if you need to get anything expunged. All right.
That we need to break down.
Anybody have any questions? No questions?
Cool.
Go ahead.
The IHSA's background check is purely of information looking of a sexual nature.
Correct.
The CPS background check looks for everything. That's the difference in the two background checks.
Correct.
All right. I've had to deal with that over the years while I was assigned. So that is the difference between what CPS is doing and what the IHSA is doing.
Yes. So again, just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of that, because I know, like we said, this year was the first year CPS had the mandatory background check that was implemented. And we did have some officials, they did get cleared, but they had to kind of go through, some loopholes here and there. Well, I shouldn't say loopholes, but, to get some things taken off, cleared off their record. And some got it done fairly quickly. Some took a little while to get it done. But the bottom line is once you get it done, then you're good to go. So again, just make sure that if you do fall in that category where something may pop up from way back when or whatever that you may have even forgotten about, just be prepared to say, okay, I got to go follow the directions in the email, because everything is going to be done via email with CBS background check. If you do have to get anything cleared, they will send you an email to get those things taken care of. And you must do it in a timely fashion, because that window will be kind of really short. And again, we'll talk about that in more detail. If that applies to you, you can talk to me one-on-one about that. But again, we just want to put that out there so you kind of know, what to expect as you go through this process. But the IHSA background check, like Steve said, is really, straightforward. You do have to put in your information online. They'll run it, and, everything will be good. You'll get an email follow up with your IHSA number and everything once you've been cleared. But everything, again, will come via email. So whatever email you use with the IHSA, that's the main form of communication. They're going to reach out to you like they reach out to all other officials in the state of Illinois, basically through email. All right. You need score table information for Minnesota. Okay. Alicia can reach out to you, Fred, so she can kind of guide you maybe through that a little bit on a one-on-one basis. All right. Any other questions about anything?
Read the training for the scorekeepers tables, and that's for any ADs or coaches. You have anybody that's interested? Our scorekeeper Zoom meeting will be on Monday at 7:30, and that's for any officials that's interested in that as well.
All right, so let me just go back to the shot clock information real quick. I've been trying to share mostly, I think, all of the current CPS officials and coaches have this information, but since we're on here, I'll just show you how to access it. So if you go to ihsa.org, you can click on sports and activities, and here where it says basketball, there's two buttons, one for boys and one for girls. Okay, either one doesn't matter, whichever one you want to click on. Once you click on either one, then you want to go over here to resources. Okay, and you'll see, if you scroll down, you'll see the documentation. All of this information is for shot clock. Okay, so anything from here down is all shot clock information. You can click on the links and you can read all the information again. This is going to be rules that you need to know on top of the regular National Federation rules. Okay, this is going to be very important that you know these rules. So if you're not familiar with it, I highly encourage you to read it. Again, we'll be covering this in our training sessions. We'll be showing some video situations to kind of reinforce some of the documentation that's there. Myself and a few other people were really adamant about trying to get this information up this past season so people can start reading through it and start getting familiar with it. I did talk to another state clinician. We are working on trying to put a slideshow together, basically kind of an extension of what's already there, but with some videos in it, so that way you can use that as as additional training tool to help you understand, how in different situations what to do, when the shot clock should go to 35, when it should go to 20, and so forth and so on. Let me say this as well: the NBA, NCAA rules are not all the same when it comes to high school rules. Everything that we're going to be doing is related to high school. There are some similarities, yes, but all of the rules are not exactly the same. That's another reason why we really want the coaches to participate in these trainings. We want the ADs, if possible, to participate in these trainings, the players to participate in the trainings. Why? Because the more that they understand what the high school rules are, the better off they'll be when it comes time for game time. So you won't be on the sideline. For those that are coaches, you won't be on the sideline, not understanding what the official's doing and why they didn't get this right. Because, well, LeBron James shot up and it hit the rim, da 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 da. Well, that's the NBA rule. That's not a high school rule. So again, we just want to make sure we know the differences because again, these are the rules that's going to be enforced at the high school level for that during the summer league as well as during the season. All right. Travell, you said, can you do the background checks before applying to be a ref? Yes, you can. You can do the background check at any time. You don't have to, be licensed to IHSA just yet. But again, I would encourage you to, get licensed through IHSA. Again, for those that did come on late, the IHSA registration starts May 1st. Again, we'll share that information, and it's all on the website, ihsa.org. You just go into the officials area, and then you can click on 2627 registration information. You click that link, all the information is there. We'll walk you through that if you need some assistance. We can help you with that information, but it's pretty straightforward. Again, they are going to do a sexual misconduct background check through the IHSA. So be prepared to talk about that information as well in your application through the IHSA. But that does not have anything to do with like I won't know your information. That's strictly for the IHSA to run your background check, okay? Or anybody else will know that that's all private information. Now, oh yes, thanks, Alicia. So starting this year, the IHSA registration will be happening in Arbiter Sports, which is the platform that the IHSA uses, as well as Chicago Public Schools. Again, we'll go through all of this information as well, but just so you can kind of see it. This is the platform that we'll have to log in and to do all of our registration, our tests, anything registration wise, that'll all go through Arbiter starting this year for all IHSA officials. This will be something new. They will send out this information via email. So again, once you register to become an IHSA official and they have your email address, you get all communications through your email. All right. So that, again, this is going to be they do have like an instructional video of how to navigate this new process that's already been put out. And I think they've sent that out a couple of times already. We can send it out as a follow-up as well. But again, just wanted to get that information out to everybody. You will not be able to register the old way. You must register through Arbiter starting May 1st. Again, they'll send out an email, so check your email on a regular basis as we get closer to May 1st, because they will be sending out more information to follow up with that. All right. Any other questions? All right. Alicia, do you have anything additional you need to speak on? Alicia? Yes. So our training days will be Tuesday and Thursdays. We will be at Phillips High School on Tuesday. We'll be there Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be there. What was the time that you said, Alicia? I don't want to misquote you. 6 to 8. Okay. 6 to 8 Tuesday and Thursdays. So make sure that you can. We'll be at Phillips High School. You can put the address in the chat too for those that don't know where Phillips is, and we'll be there for training. For those that are trainers that are on the call tonight, if you are interested in leading a training, let me know so we can work out a schedule so that we can put you on the schedule for training as well. Because we do have, again, a wide variety of officials that can train on just about anything when it comes to officiating. All right. The scorekeepers, for those that are interested in doing scorekeeping, we will have a Zoom training on Monday, this coming Monday at 7:30. Is that the right time, Alicia? Or did we say 7 for Monday for the scorekeepers? 7:30. Okay, 7:30 for the scorekeeper training on Monday. If you're interested in that, let us know. If you haven't received the Zoom link for that, we can send that out to you as well. And again, it'll be just an overview, kind of similar to this, but just kind of geared towards the scorekeepers before we actually get started doing our in-person trainings over at Phillips. If you are interested in working Summer League, again, for those that came on late, make sure you reach out to Alicia Miller. She can send you all of the information for MNS Association, all the requirements, rules, and things like that. She spoke on it earlier, and we are recording this meeting. So if you want to go back and review it later, you can feel free to do so. All right, and if that's pretty much all I have at this point. Again, thank you all for being on the call. Alicia, any last minute reminders or anything you need to share with everybody? She's probably typing. She's been a little under the weather, so we got to be being a little patient with her voice. All right, so I'm guessing there's not much else to cover. Again, but if you guys got any questions about anything, feel free to reach out to us. I'll put my name and number in the chat. It was in the email, but in case you don't have it, you can reach out to me. If you have any questions about anything, I'll be more than happy to assist you as best I can. Training starts Tuesday. I mean, well, we're doing it. Yeah, we're doing a scorekeepers training on Monday. That's via Zoom, but the in-person training starts Tuesday. So we're gonna do Tuesday, Thursday at Phillips High School from 6 to 8. All right. All right. Well, if that's about it, then we're gonna let you guys go. And thank you for being on the call. What I will do, I will follow up with an email just for those that are brand new officials. There's going to be a video that I'm going to send you. It's a two-person mechanic, which is the basics of officiating. I want you guys to watch that video and take notes. We're going to discuss that with the brand new officials when we have our in-person meeting, because you need to know the foundations of officiating, and knowing the lead, the trail, which line is your responsibility, which line is not your responsibility, all that kind of things in different situations. So I'll send that video out for you guys to watch that as well. And again, we'll talk about that at the meeting, as well as we'll have some stuff for our veteran officials. So we'll cover kind of twofold. But thank you again for being on the call, everybody. We hope you have a wonderful day. Yes. Go ahead, Jim.
Alicia put in chat that Tuesdays are only in person, Thursdays are
Oh,
Zoom.
okay. Thank you, Alicia. So Tuesday will be in person, and then Thursday will be be on Zoom. Again, the Zoom will be great, especially if you, like I said, if you got people who maybe traveling out of town, or whatever the case may be, or moving around. So the Zoom will be good for them. But again, we want you to be in person, because there's a lot of things we just can't cover in a Zoom that we have to cover in person. So if you can, do your best to try to make it there. Let us know ahead of time if you're gonna come. Reach out to myself, Alicia. Just shoot us a text. Say, hey, I'll be at the meeting on Tuesday, or I won't make it, or whatever case may be. We just want to know before we, start those cars up and burn that gas, because as you know, that gas ain't cheap out there now, and we're doing this for free. So we're not, charging anybody for this. We just want officials to get better. We want scorekeepers to get better. We just want to add more quality officiating in the officiating community. That's our goal, and we want to do it the right way. So again, but thank you all for being on the call, and everybody have a good evening.
I got one more thing to say, Coop.
Oh,
I'm sorry
go
for
ahead.
interrupting.
Go ahead.
I wanted to start officials who have gently use officiating gear to donate if possible, because I know I have a lot of stuff. And if you guys want to join in with me, when we meet up on the actual days, we can bring things that maybe newer officials could use. So I have a lot of, black pants, black joggers, even some of my IHSA shirts. So those who are my size, the females, then I'll have a lot of those items and some gym shoes as well. So if you can join with me, that would be great. And
Yeah.
bringing your gently used items. Nothing that's dingy or anything. I hate dingy IHSA shirts. Please don't donate those. That is not what I'm looking for these newer officials.
Right. I'll put this website in the chat if you're interested in purchasing your own uniform brand new. This is just one of the many websites that a lot of officials use. You don't have to use this one. There's a bunch of other ones, but if you want to go to purchaseofficials.com or click on the link in the chat, this is like a uniform package builder, meaning that they kind of package together a complete uniform that you would need as an official. Just click on Illinois. I know they have an Illinois. They got different states on here, so just make sure you find the Illinois one, which is right here. And they have a package for like $134, or basically $135, which gives you the pants, the shirt, the jacket, and the whistle. Okay, you have to buy your own shoes. Your shoes must be black, all black, or as much as black as possible, without any other designs and things like that on it. So again, we want you guys to come out looking professional and having the appropriate attire when you're out there. I will say this: during summer league, though, you may see some games where officials may be wearing black shorts. If you don't have black shorts, I would encourage you to get black shorts, preferably black shorts with no fancy designs, just solid black shorts if you can get that. Reason being is because certain leagues, I know Alicia can talk about this in more detail, but there are certain leagues that are maybe strictly Nike summer league events or, Adidas or whatever it may be. And you don't want to walk in with Nike shorts to an Adidas event. That don't look good. So if you just get solid black shorts, then you should be fine. Alicia, anything you want to chime in on that?
That's it, except for MNS uses the same professionalism for uniforms for AAU as we do our regular school season. So only thing that we're laxed in, like Coop said, is we do joggers. I don't even do shorts because to me it's not professional. So as long as you have, like I said, some black joggers, we do have shirts for MNS. I did not cover that, and I apologize. The shirts are $20. And you can order it if you need a shirt. Just send it to me. I'll make the order, and then when you work your first game, then I'll do the deduction from your first pay for the $20. But we also have scorekeeper shirts as well, because I do believe that you're supposed to dress for success.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, again, we're going to meet on Tuesday in person at Phillips High School, 6 to 8. Bring your rule books, your notepad. Those that are brand new, just bring a notepad and something to write with. We're going to challenge you. You will have some homework assignments here and there, so just be prepared. But again, just try to keep your nose in the rule book, study the rules as much as possible. I think if I didn't send a link to you for the rule book, let me put that in the chat too. If you want to order rule books now, just keep in mind that that the new rule books will be coming out typically around September, October. But this is the current rule book if you want to just, purchase it and start reading it. This is the National Federation rule book that all high schools are using across the country. So again, this is what you really need to get familiar with. I would recommend that you get the rule book, the case book, and the officials manual. Okay, the rule book, which is like $12. The case book is $12. The officials manual is $22.95. The rule book is just that. It has all of the rules. The case book will give examples or scenarios, how to, like real game situations that have occurred over the history of basketball, and then how to apply the rule to those particular plays. The officials manual is going to cover everything else, where you should be in certain situations, where you should stand, what you should be looking for, what you should not be looking at, and all of those types of things. Again, that's if you want to, get a jump on that. You can definitely order those books and you'll have them ready. You can, have it before the season starts just to get familiar. There will be rule changes. Actually, I need to call somebody to find out when they're going to release it, but typically it's right around sometime in May or June. They'll release the new rules for the 26-27 season. But I know somebody on the National Federation Committee. I'm going to probably reach out to them to get an idea of what those rules may be. If I can get a hold of them before the meeting, I'll try to definitely share that with you guys. But they'll release it, like I said, between May and June of this year. But they won't be printing out the books until the fall. So the new books for the 26-27 season won't be available till fall. For those that are IABO members, again, you already know. Which is, just so you know, for those that are new, IABO is a organization that we've been partnering with and we've been working with that actually helps train. All they do is strictly train basketball officials all over the world. That's all that they focus on. And so myself during the pandemic joined as an IABO member. It's $35 a year. You have a plethora, and I mean a whole lot of resources, from videos to documentations to rule book to scenarios to study guides to you name it. Yeah, and some of the officials on this call, they can attest that this is the real deal. I wish I'd have been an IABO member way when I started years ago. Maybe I might have had a chance to work some high level D1 or NBA or whatever. All of us probably would have at this point. But they have a great resource center for basketball officials. I would highly encourage you. This is optional, but I would highly encourage you to pay the $35 a year for the resources or access to videos and things like that. This particular website, which is called RefQuest, is also included in that membership, where they send, like, you make the call plays. So just for an example, I'll just play this play, and we use this in some of our training. So, for example, we'll play a play, we'll look at it, we'll break it down, and we'll find out, okay, what was legal or illegal about this play. You make the call.
Not
Okay.
to interrupt, Coop, but I wanted to answer Randy's question before
Sure.
people start jumping off. Yes, Randy, you will be on the court in trainings. It's going to be classroom and on court game time trainings on Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be prepared. You don't have to have your IHSA shirt, but you should be prepared to have your gym shoes, something comfortable, and your whistle, so that you can be able to, because he's going to go over positioning, and that's crucial, like he said, for these plays to get the right angle to be able to make your call. So the answer is yes.
Okay. So again, we'll, break plays down. We'll talk about plays, and, because again, what you think the rule might be and how to apply the rule is two different things. So this is why it's important, because obviously if you've ever played basketball, coached, officiated before, you know that the game is very fast paced. And so to make the correct ruling in a quick amount of time, it's a skill that you have to work at. It's not just oh, well, I can do this. Yeah. Okay. Come on out here and see what it's like.
You got to be sharp.
But it's repetition. Like anything else, it's about repetition. So the more we practice at it, the better off we get. Okay. So, but yeah, I don't want to keep it. I don't want to keep you guys.
Hey, Coop.
Go ahead.
Coop, real quick, the new rules are out for this
They
coming
are?
season. Yeah, they're talking about goaltending, basket interference, contact and backboard, and freedom of movement is a
Okay.
point of emphasis. Calling fouls, calling intentional fouls, and stuff like that.
That
If you
was
go,
last year's rules, Steve. That was
Right.
last year's rules changes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but we'll go over that, because again, you need to know the previous rules going into the new season, because those same rules apply. So again, there's a lot that we have to cover. I just hope, and a lot of us who are on this call that have experience will hope those that are new, just be patient with yourself. I think that's the one thing we can all agree with. Be patient with yourself. There's a lot to learn. It's a different perspective. I always said that there's four perspectives when it comes to basketball. It's the player's perspective, it's the fans' perspective, it's the coach's perspective, and there's the official's perspective. But the one that has to enforce the rule are the officials. Okay, so we have to know the rules in order to apply the rules, like I stated earlier. All right. Any questions again before we leave? Because I don't want to hold you guys any longer. Okay. No questions? Anybody? No question. It can be about anything. It don't have to be about just what we talked about tonight. If you got a question about a play, a rule, whatever, we got veteran experience on the call. We can definitely try to answer it for you.
All right. Good evening. Mr. Coop, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
All right, cool. Quick question, just in regards to, I guess, like a certain play, right? Let's just say that an offensive player is airborne on a pass, like, the driving, in control, they get a paint touch, they get airborne on a pass. The primary defender establishes legal guarding position, and the pass goes, and then there's contact. How would you, or I guess kind of like, how would we judge it if it's going to be some type of charge, block, or like a no call, even though it's a pass and that player is not attempting to make a score at the basket?
That's a great question, and that's definitely one of the questions one of the scenarios that we're gonna cover. In officiating, we call that a pass and crash play. Okay, meaning that let's say if I'm the offensive player and I'm going towards the defender and I jump in the air, but I don't shoot, but I pass the ball. But if I'm the offensive player and this is, well, I'm saying if this is the offensive player and this is the defensive player, if I go airborne and I still crash into that defender, if the defender was already there before I left the floor, then the responsibility is on the offensive person to not make contact to the defender. But if the defender is not there before the offensive player jumps, now the onus is on the defender. Okay. So basically, it's kind of like who's the first person that's established their position. That's really the gist of it. I mean, again, I don't want to get into the weeds of it, but that's generally how we kind of use that decision making process. We're taught to always officiate the defense. So that's what we're looking for 99.9% of the time. That's what we're looking for to see. Does the defender establish legal guarding position? Again, that's another topic that we'll go dive into, because again, you need to understand what that means, or in abbreviation terms, we call that LGP, legal guarding position. But yes, that's what we call a pass and crash play. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking to see, does the defender have legal guarding position before the offensive player went airborne to make that pass to a teammate, or even let's say if they did shoot the ball. Either way, we want to know, okay, what did the defender do? What did the defender do? Were they legal or were they illegal at the time of the contact?
Got you. Okay. Is it okay if I ask another question?
Sure, go ahead.
Different play. All right. So, offensive player goes up basically for like a dunk. Let's just say, there's no contact, whatever. But then let's just say that they missed the dunk. They're still hanging on the rim. There are other players that are underneath the rim, so he's hanging on the rim in regards to like safety measures. Not trying to land on anybody, roll an ankle, whatever the case may be. The ball bounces up after he go, like, let's just say like the ball bounces up on the back rim, bounces up relatively high, doesn't make any contact like over the rim or anything like that, and it kind of bounces back into the rim. And he's still hanging on that rim. But then as soon as it goes through, basically simultaneously, the offensive player that was hanging on the rim, it falls through and like it goes through the net. Is that supposed to be offensive goaltending, or is that's
basket interference?
That okay? All right, cool. Because like I'm just going over these plays because I was officiating this past weekend at the New Balance tournament, and literally like both of those plays that I just asked in regards to those scenarios, they happened, and there was a couple of other ones, and I called it how I saw it, and there were other officials that I was officiating with, like even for instance, like offensive player being airborne, passing the ball, and I got I got coaches just like screaming at me, and they're like, "Oh, you this is that da 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 da. You're supposed to be able to overturn him for this and that." I'm like,
now let me
I'm
say
focused
this.
on it in my area. I'm not
Right.
like I'm sorry that you feel that way, but just try to de-escalate the situation.
Right now, I'll say this too, because based on you mentioned that like players were under the basket when the offensive player was trying to attempt a dunk, and so in that situation, it's more of a timing situation, meaning were the players there when he went up, or were the players there after he attempted to make the dunk? The player attempted to make the dunk, and he realized that there were players underneath him, so he was holding on for his own safety. Now that
Literally all of them, everything that you just mentioned,
yeah,
it all transpired exactly like that.
right. Now again, that's a great scenario where we talk about the gray area, or those plays that we consider grays, plays that are gray, meaning that somebody might think this, somebody might think that, what have you. That's a perfect play, because depending on the timing of the play and how it happens and what we call this, there's three words that we always use: how a play starts, develops, and finishes. The official that's in that primary area has to make that decision. Okay, what happened? How did things happen? How did the play happen? Now, if the player went up and dunked and somebody just ran up underneath him and he realized that, and that ball still goes up and tries to come down and go in the basket or whatever the case may be, again, you got to use your best judgment. Now we know what the rule says, The rule says that's a basket interference, regardless of whatever, because that ball, the player was still holding onto the rim, and the ball didn't have and I'm assuming, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't know if the player, when they tried to dunk, if the rim was like, was with the breakaway rim, did the rim break its natural position, or if it didn't break its natural position. Those are factors you want to take in consideration too. So again, it's your judgment based on what happens in the play. But this is the reason why we want to have training sessions like this, because guess what? We can survey everybody on this call, and I guarantee you, some might say this, some might say that, you know, and this based
Yeah.
on the judgment of the official. Because again, now you're talking about a player making a legal attempt to score a basket via dunk. You're also talking about the safety of the player, because guess what? He has to be able to land properly and safely. But if there's players underneath him, the rule says that the player can hold on to the rim for their own safety and the safety of others. But at the same token, the ball's in the air. It's trying to, maybe it hit the flange and bounced off, or maybe it was trying to go in. Like, there's a lot of things you got to take into consideration in that particular play, because there's a lot happening. And that play might have happened within maybe, what, a second and a half at most.
That like everything that I just conveyed to you and
Mhm.
everybody else on this call, that happened within like 3 seconds. Like
Yeah.
there's people underneath the basket. He went to go try and dunk on like two people.
Hmm.
And it hit the back rim. He's hanging on the rim, but there's still like primary defenders that are underneath the rim, and
Hmm.
he's hanging on it, and it's one of those breakaway rims. So like it breaks its natural position from being, I guess, parallel to, I guess, on like that 45-degree angle. He's hanging on there, but then the ball bounces straight up and it like goes through the net. And as soon as
Hmm.
it goes through the net, simultaneously, he's able to like pop off of the rim, and he has two hands on the rim, and then there's people there. But I was witnessing the play. I was at the center position while
Okay.
that play was happening,
Hmm.
right? But then we called it goaltending, and kind of just moved on. Like the scoring, like the offensive coach, he was like adamant, like, oh, that should count and blah blah blah. And I'm like,
Right.
well, listen, coach, I understand where you're coming from, but to de-escalate everything. It
Hmm.
was like one of those bang bang plays, and mind you, this was 15U.
Hmm.
Like
I mean,
it was 15U.
we have to look at the talent level. I mean,
Hmm.
all over social media now, you got kids in seventh and eighth grade dunking like they're in the NBA. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of these kids are very athletic, and again, you have to be able to officiate that. You got to be able to learn how to say, okay, size, be able to officiate size and strength. That's important, because guess what? If Shaq is backing me down in the post, you got to know how to officiate that.
Right.
I mean, just because he's
Right.
big doesn't necessarily mean he displaces me. Maybe I'm giving up ground. Maybe I'm flopping. Those are things you got to use. You got to know the rules to understand how
Hmm.
to apply the rules to those various situations. So again, that's why we want to make sure we cover all of that information, cover the rules, so that we all get a better understanding of the rules. And again, like I said, there will be some gray areas. There's going to be some areas where even you and your partners on your crew that you work in a game together, you may see a play and have different opinions on the play. It happens, but how do we adjudicate the play so that we can move on to the next play? That's important,
Right.
as well. So we'll discuss all of that. Those are different things, but those are great plays to discuss. I mean, somebody else is on the call if you want to chime in. I mean, and just so you know, the meeting is officially over. So those that want to, get off, you can. This is what we like to call the after party. So we just like to talk plays and, talk basketball. So if you want to stick and stay, feel free to do so. But
Excuse me,
Get,
before you get into that,
okay.
please just make sure you sign in, because to get MNS games, you have to have class and meeting credit. So make sure you sign into the chat with your name and IHSA number to get credit for tonight's game. And thank you all for attending for those that are leaving.
Yes, thank you. And if you're new to officiating, you don't have IHSA number, just type your name in the chat. That'll be fine. Yeah.
get used to the coach disagreeing with you. Every time a call don't go their way, they're gonna disagree with you. Their pattern of attack is to try to get you thinking in their direction. So know the rule, have a judgment of what you see and stick with that judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
because when it goes against them, they're gonna try to talk you into being more in their favor or calling the play in their direction. So get used to that, dude.
yes, and that's why we say it's important to know the rules, because if you're confident about knowing the rules, and I know he's on the call, I'm just going to use him for an example because I had one of his games this year, and I kicked the rule, and Coach Slaughter, who's on the call, he said, "No, that's not the right rule. I'm gonna send you the rule so that you can get the rule right." I said, "Okay." Next day, he texted me the rule. I texted him back. I said, I stand corrected. You're absolutely right." It's because I was thinking of it was a rule that got changed a few years ago. I was still thinking of the old rule in the heat of the game. I was just really thinking the old rule, and I was like, "You're right." I kicked the rule. So it happens. You're human. You're gonna miss calls. You're gonna miss plays sometimes, but it's not the goal is to miss them all the time. It's happened, and he understood. He like, "Hey, okay, I missed the play. We go on to the next play." But those are things that happen, but you do have to know the rules. You have to be confident in those rules to know what to do and how to do in various situations. That's very important. And not only that builds confidence with not only yourself, with your partners, but with coaches. They see those things. I know especially during the spring and summer league, that's a great time to really, tighten up your skill set when it comes to officiating, is because guess what? You see a wide range of teams, a wide range of players, a wide range of coaches, and they get to see you work. So you want to, be your best when you're on that floor. You want to get out there and get those plays right, because that builds confidence. So now when the season rolls around, and if you're on Coach Slaughter's game or whoever the coach may be, they can say, "Oh, okay, I've seen Clarence work a few times. Okay, he's all right. Let's see how he does tonight." But again, some coaches are gonna try you no matter what. Not all coaches, but some of them are gonna try you. And some coaches do actually know the rules. They actually read the rule book. So again, you don't want to get caught off guard, but you want to be prepared. Just like any, if your regular job, you want to be prepared. You don't want to get caught off guard on your regular job. Same thing with officiating. It's just that for some people, the game can get very high intense, very high intensity, and it can be a little emotional for people, and we have to be the safeguard of the rules and make sure that we enforce those rules and do it the right way, So that's our job. That's what we get paid to do, and that's the expectation. Because obviously, whoever your assigner, that assigns you to a game, they expect you to do the job the right way, and stay out of trouble and be professional. Yeah. Oh yeah, the ratings. So this year, well, starting this past season, for those that don't know, IHSA during the basketball season, during the winter basketball season, IHSA requires the coaches now to rate the officials um, after every game. So that's part of their responsibilities. And they do that online through the IHSA website. But again, they're going to rate you on your rules knowledge, your appearance, your performance, were you running up and down the court, or were you just kind of, lollygagging? Like all of those things are gonna, show up. And then more importantly, remember this: everybody has one of these, even the fans. So you got to make sure that guess what, you are giving the best performance on the floor, because you don't want to look bad. You don't want, coaches sending in clips saying, "Oh, look at Clarence. He doesn't even get across half court. Why you keep putting this guy on my games? He's making calls at half court and the ball's all the way at the end line. What is he doing?" You don't want to be that official. You want to be the official that's hustling to your positions, to your spots, making the right calls, getting the right angles. Again, you got to be in shape. If getting in shape is what you got to work on during this off season, then that's what you got to work on. If you got to change your diet, then that's what you need to work on. Whatever it is you need to work on, because again, it does affect you mentally and it will affect you physically. As far as if you're not in shape, and it's going to show. So again, if you're brand new, we get it. It's going to take time to kind of get into the rhythm or get into the groove of things to understand what's expected, how you should go about doing things. But if you've been around a while, you know you have to tighten up some things, then work on those things so that you can be better for the upcoming season and for your next game. All right. But that was great question, great scenarios. Anybody else got anything, any plays or rules that they're not sure about or want to discuss while we're on here for a few more minutes? Don't everybody talk at once. Mr. Slaughter, do you happen to have any questions about rules or anything? I can't hear you. You're unmuted, but I can't hear you for some reason.
If nobody, if Mr. Slaughter is not gonna talk, I guess I got one more question.
Go ahead.
Just in regards to de-escalation tactics, let's just say it's like a hostile environment in regards to the game. We got fans, coaches, players, and calls aren't just going. First off, like both coaches, they know like they're not going to get every call, regardless, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
just in regards to de-escalation tactics, and then even for instance, like coaches, they're trying to like ride the official, like for instance, like let's just say myself.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to like ride me so they can get more calls.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about like kind of like de-escalating the what are some tactics I should say to go about like de-escalating I guess like the coaches so they don't feel like you are like me or for instance me as like an official like I got it out for them like I'm trying to make sure that they lose by any means necessary because you
Mm-hmm.
do have those coaches that are out there that are like that
Mm-hmm.
and they have those mannerisms.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess just in regards to like de-escalation tactics, I guess maybe like one or two. What would you recommend?
Well, it depends on circumstance. Obviously, it's just kind of knowing the right things to say. Um, And when I say that, I mean it from perspective of, we have to, like you said, de-escalate. We can't have a coach just, way up here vocally and just like, just want to shout and complain and this, that, and the other. And then we're trying to shout and complain with them because now that's, adding fuel to the fire. So to de-escalate, sometimes it could be, terminology. What the first thing is you got to listen to understand what they're asking or what they're talking about. That's the first thing. And I think that's something that as officials, we have to do a better job of is being able to listen to what the coach is saying or listen to
Mm-hmm.
what the player is saying. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes they're actually giving us valuable information, but because they may be saying it at a loud tone or a loud volume, we think that they're shouting at us or we thinking that they're, demeaning us. And that's not always the case. Sometimes it could be the coach might be saying, they're fouling my player. They're fouling them. Well, if the coach is saying they're fouling them, maybe that is might be something we might need to take a look at. Not saying always, but they might have a point. So you might want to say, okay, coach, we should take a look at it. We'll look for it. And, look for it because maybe they might be right. Not saying all the time, but maybe they might be right. But if we don't look for it and we just, oh, that coach, he always yelling. He don't know what he's talking about. Now, sometimes the game can get out of hand because why? That one foul turned into 2, 3, 4 fouls, 5 fouls, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fouls. And we just keep ignoring it. Now the game gets worse and worse from a control perspective. Okay. But now on the flip side, if you think that coach is saying that just to, demean you, then you have to address it. Then the rule book says we can issue a warning or we can issue a technical foul if it's deemed to be unsportsmanlike. But that's again your judgment. Depending on what the coach says or what the coach does, you have to make that decision. So there's again, we'll cover those in detail, those types of situations, and we'll go through some scenarios or show some videos as well. Talking about some of those types of situations. But it's really just about listening first and then asking yourself, okay, are they making a statement or are they asking a question? Okay. If they're asking a question, then you have to process the question and say, okay, is this a legitimate question that I need to answer? Now, I'll say this, and I've learned this from going to camps, that when you listen and the coach is asking a question, now you can give them an answer that can help them coach their team better. Okay. In some cases. But if we don't answer the question, now the coach is steady asking questions. So it's just like, if anybody asks you a question, you should be able to try to answer their question, okay, if at all possible. Now, we can't do it up and down the court every single possession. Obviously, we can't have a conversation with a coach like that. But if it's, isolated play or a situation that happened, yeah, if you can address it, you address it if you can. But if you feel like, again, it's your judgment. If you feel like this coach is just talking just to be talking, then okay, coach, okay, I heard you. That's enough. I heard you, and you move on to the next play. If they keep going and keep going and keep going, like I said, the rule book gives us two options as officials. Either you can give a warning, or you can give a technical foul. It doesn't have to be a warning right away. It could be a technical foul if you deem it to be unsportsmanlike. And if you give a technical foul, obviously the coach has to sit for the remainder of the game, and everything that goes along with that. Okay, so yeah, Jamila, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I agree with everything you were saying, Coop. I would just use another tool, and that would be your partners. They can interject with the coach and kind of relieve you from that situation and go over there as well. Like, for instance, I had a situation this past season where I felt that me and another partner let our third down because it got so elevated that we had to call the police. And thinking, because I knew the coach, thinking it was nothing on my end because I knew the coach, but it was something bigger to the newer official. And it got so bad that things were said and somebody said somebody touched someone. So the police was called. So I felt that myself and my second partner, we let down our third, who was actually the one that said he was offended, meaning he got touched by the coach. So I felt that we weren't there to assist our partner the way we should have to de-escalate the situation and have it escalate to what it became to. So I feel partners should step in when they need to, rather earlier than later. And then, like I said, like Coop was saying, you can talk to the coach. So sometimes coaches just want to be heard. They want you to listen to them. You could agree to disagree, but be respectful. You might not get the same respect in return, and that's when you use your other tools as far as a warning or a technical foul. But at the same time, I'm very adamant about partners interjecting and helping their partner that's in need at that time.
That's a great point. Great point. Andrew, you want to chime in on that? That was a great comment, Jamila. Andrew,
I don't know if I want. Good evening,
You all right?
everybody. Good
go ahead.
I'm
evening.
good. I'm good.
First, the young man who was asking about de-escalating situations. The first thing that's gonna happen is, especially if you're a young official and you work with a veteran, and you look over there and the coach is riding you and he's riding you. Next time we come down the floor, Clarence is over there. He talking to the coach, and the coach is not mad at all. So now at halftime, I'm gonna ask Clarence, "What did you say to him?" And I'm not saying I'm gonna use that on this coach or the next coach, but whatever Clarence said to that coach, it's gonna help you down the line. For me to have some kind of communication with the coach, and so with that, it's a couple of ways you can get out of that as a young official. So you just call a foul. You table sat right on the coach's bench. The player is shooting 2 shots, and I'm going to center court. I'm almost going to be at the center circle. If I don't want to have a conversation with this coach, or he's been riding me, and I don't have the right thing to say to him, so I'm going to just get away from him. That way, he going to have to get loud for everybody in the gym to hear what he got to say to you, or he's not going to say nothing, because he can't come on the court. He can't come on the court. and hopefully the veteran official who you're working with, they'll help you with that. So on the second shot, you go move a little bit closer to the coach. He probably just say something. Well, the player that shot the second shot, and we get a play. I don't have time to talk to him now because I'm going from trail to be the new lead. So that's one way it's gonna get me out of that situation. But eventually, you're gonna have to have or gain some communication skills, and that's gonna come with experience, talking to experienced officials. Not being negative with it. Just like Clarence said, the coach is talking to you, and he said he got fouled on that play. He got hit. I'll take a look at it, coach. And when it gets down to it, he's only talking to me. This might not even be a foul where we go shoot. He's talking to me because I'm the closest official. Clarence on the other side of the floor, he made the call. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to stand there and let him talk. And then I'm going to say, I got you, coach. I'll take a look at it. By that time, we should be playing again. I don't have time to talk to him no more. I got a job to do now. So that's just one scenario that hopefully it'll help you with that de-escalation.
Yeah, I think, and it's great that you brought that up too, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of officials can always work on is our communication tools. Again, not saying you got to communicate every time down the court or every time the coach or player says something, but when the time permits, you need to know how to communicate properly and professionally, even if it is a heated environment, even if it is, a close ball game or whatever the case may be. It's our job to learn how to de-escalate situations as much as we possibly can. On the flip side, no matter how much we try, sometimes the situation may not de-escalate. And that's when we have to, use our tools. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
It's still an echo.
Oh, echo. Yeah, I'm sure why. Okay. Is that better?
Yep, better.
I had to mute and unmute it. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, so it's just like I said earlier, it's repetition. The more you practice these situations, the more you're in these situations, the better off you get. And Andrew was absolutely correct. Sometimes you'll work with a partner that may do something. You'd be like, okay, wow, what did it seem like that worked? What did they do? And you find out what that is and put it in your toolkit. And you may have to use that somewhere down the road. And I always say this: be like a Swiss Army knife. Have a variety of different tools in your toolkit because everything doesn't work for everybody. Or in every situation. Excuse me. You may have to, sometimes silence is the best response, if depending on the circumstance, so you just have to know what to do and how to do. And that comes through repetition.
And then you might have veteran officials that could get away with a little bit more than you as a newer official, or someone that's been like me. I've been doing it for now 14 years, and I'm still not on the level of, say, like Black or Soup and all them. They have different type of relationship with coaches that I would probably never reach. So you have to know where you stand too, when you're out there on the court.
Hey, I don't want to put you on the spot, but at the same token, I think I want to just, since we do have mostly officials on here, or people that want to be officials, Ty, if you don't mind, just from a coach's perspective, like what are some of the things that you all as coaches, I think this is something that we don't talk about much either, is we don't hear much from the coach's side, off the court, but what are some of the things maybe you can share with the officials? Because we have a wide range of officials on the call, from new officials to veteran officials, that maybe you can share, to help us be better at our jobs. Are you there, Tyrone? Mr. Slaughter, are you there?
I think he took a nap.
Hey, Coop, I can answer that question because I'm coaching now. As a coach, I want people that know the rules. I want to be able to answer questions and get a logical answer. I think because I've officiated for all the years that I did. And we were taught back then that treat the coaches with the same respect that you want them to treat you. And when you show that kind of respect toward them, most times you get it back. There are going to be some instances where you got some coaches that just don't adhere to that, but you have tools to get around that. A warning all the way up to a technical foul and taking them out the game. There's times when you give them a warning. There's times when you call it just a technical foul, and there's times when you have to eject the coach. So that is what I look for. Somebody that knows the game is easier. I had a game yesterday at Bremen High School in a different sport, volleyball, but we still have to interact with referees. And it was nice. I knew what to tell my team. This referee calls the game this way. Be aware of that. That referee calls the game that way. Be aware of that. And you know, because of longevity, how the game is going to be officiated, and you know, because of longevity, how you can ask a question and get an answer.
Those are some great points. Great points. Mr. Slaughter, you there? Guess not.
See, I love what you said, and I wish that all coaches would actually at least take a class in officiating so they can have a little bit more respect for officials. But unfortunately, especially for the newer officials, they probably going to be on the lower level first or doing more lower level games, and you might not have the more advanced coaches. So they're going to probably reach a point where they are going to be in contact with a coach that may not be well versed with the rules, or may have a certain stigma about officials. So that's the part that officials need to be aware of and be ready for it in order. But I think professionalism and knowing the rules will always put you out first as a great official, even if you might have some disagreement with coaches. Being professional and knowing your rules, that will always help you out in the long
And,
run.
and I do apologize, Janita. My earpiece shut down on me and I had to switch it. So I didn't hear the very first part, but I think you were saying they treat new officials different than they treat veteran officials
What I just said now, or what I said before?
just now.
No, I was saying that newer officials might do more of the lower level games. So they might have coaches who are new as well, or not have been coaching for quite some time. So they might not be as well versed with the rules, or it might come off as a little confrontational at times. Not all, but some.
Uh,
Um, so I was just saying that I wish that more coaches would be able to take a class or know a little bit certain things about officiating prior to starting to coach, because they'll have a certain level of respect for officials.
Well, we've tried that over the years, and the coaches come in meetings and fall asleep. They're
Like
not really
Slaughter, not even talking.
right. Yeah, they're not. And well, Slaughter's not one of those guys.
I know.
He is one that
Yeah.
will ask questions over the years, and I've gotten call from him several times asking about what I think, this, that, and the other. The biggest thing you got to know is when to use your tools to ignore, tech, or eject. You got to know that, and at that point, in your effort of learning, because we were all new at one point in time, and we all had to deal with coaches when we were new. In fact, when Andrew Williams and I started, Slaughter was the coach of Ferrari AAU team, and you have to deal with him from that aspect. But you have tools to deal with any person, whether they are just question askers or whether they want to be recalcitrant toward the rules. So you again, you have to know those tools, know when to do it, and know when not to do it. Know when to use them, and know when not to use them. That's the best way to handle that. And as Andrew said, that all comes with experience.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Any other plays? Cam, I see you on here. You got any plays you want to talk about or rule situations? Or Franklin?
Hey, Coop, I want to bring this up.
Go ahead.
Since you said we got new people on here, and I was at a boys' game, toward the end of the season. It was our senior night. I'm a coach at Bloom High School, so I went to support the boys' basketball team, and two of the three varsity, and because I am a referee, I'm gonna say, or so-called varsity officials were 50 minutes late for this game. Now, out here in the south suburbs, you get in these games now. So you've had these games. It is horrible for us as a people for you to walk in these games late. Horrible. And the one guy said he apologized and said he was an offender bender. And then we found out because of the school that we were playing, he was at the day before, and their athletic director said that this joker used the same excuse yesterday. It is horrible for us to take these games and walk in at game time. Just god awful horrible. It is also horrible for us to walk up and down the court making calls from the 3-point arc in the back court, in the lane, on the block, in the front court. This is a running game, and we have to run with the game. But we are imbued with folks walking up the court and making those real long distance calls. And we are making this avocation look just horrible by doing what we're doing. Now, you guys saying that's what we do in AAU. Well, you're not working 10 and 15 games in AAU. You come into that varsity game and you work in one game. Your job is to get them down that court. Your job is to be in position. And your position ain't a half court, it's the 28-foot mark. But we are missing the boat, and we're going to lose out by losing people because we keep doing what we're doing. So I wanted to throw that in there, sir.
Well, that's a great point. I mean, it's all factual, and it's not everybody, I don't want to say it's everybody, but, for those that it applies to them. And, they know who they are. And some of us have worked with some of those people, or we know some of those people. And, like I said, my philosophy is this: if you accept a game, you're supposed to be giving 110% effort on that game. That's the expectation. No one wants to pay somebody for a service and they giving you half effort, because if you get half your pay, then you mad. So, give better effort, know your rules, be in shape, get up and down the floor, because we all know what it takes to do the job. We know we got to run. We know we got to, be in some type of shape. I'm saying you got to be as fast as the kids, because we probably never be that fast again, at least most of us, but it's still, you got to be in the position. Like you said, you got to make a conscious effort to do your job the right way. And that's all anybody is asking, is just do your job. Do what you're getting paid to do. Do what the rule book says do. That's what we're supposed to do, and then, you let the chips fall where they may at that point.
And that actually, that actually starts your game off on a bad
Yeah.
start. So you might think, then you might have again the coaches coming at you because they're already upset that you're late. So
Mhm. Yeah. So I mean, it becomes a domino effect at that point, and it's hard to, you know, try to change a coach's mind when you come in late, especially if they don't know who you are. Now it's different if they know, oh well, Steve has been repping for 30 plus years. I know he's a reliable rep. Sorry to hear he's an offender bender. He might be a little shaken up. Okay, fine, but that's because that coach knows Steve, and he knows Steve is not the type of person that's going to be lazy on the game. But until you can get that reputation of working with ads and coaches, you have to really work to prove your worth. You have to get out there and show you what you can do. And again, one play at a time, one game at a time. That's all we can do. But you want to make that one play or that one game like the best game ever. That's what you want to do. Treat it that way. Because if you treat it that way, then guess what? You're going to eventually stand out. People are going to say, "Oh, I like that person. They work hard. They give effort." And again, that's all any coach or any player or anybody, a signer as well. That's all we ask you to do is just to give the effort. Give the best that you can give. And that's all we ever ask.
Hey,
and I
let me
like
Jamila, let me chime in right quick.
go ahead.
Cause I got CRS. If I don't say it now, it's called can't remember shit. Uh, for the young officials on this call, and you go start doing the AAU games, and they don't pay a whole lot, but the games will give you some experience. But I would suggest don't take 6 and 7 games, cause that's gonna tell everybody that he or she just out here working for money.
That
Cause
is
I'm gonna
so
be honest with you, I don't care how young you are, I don't care how old you are. After that third game, it's a wrap. I don't care how many. If it's Steve, if it's me, whoever else is on this call who's a veteran, I didn't see everybody's name. It's not the fact that you've been running for 3 games. It's the fact that you've been in this gym for 3 hours. Probably went to the bathroom once. Haven't eaten anything. And you tired. And right there on that third game, nope. Now you go do a fourth game. And that's it. Right when somebody who was an assigner felt like they go stop in this gym and watch some referees. And there you are out there, tired, sluggish, walking. And somebody mentioned your name. And I'm going to just use myself and say, I see this person. I say, you talking about him? You talking about her? No, they lazy. They just working for money. They're not trying to get no better. And it's not that you're not trying to get any better. Your body and your mind are both tired. You're not focusing. You're not looking at the game like it's supposed to be looking at if it was your first game. This is just going to be me and what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 3 games. In that first game, I'm going to work that first game. And I'm going to work that second game. In that third game, it's almost time for me to go. It was a wrap. So I'm just saying, and when you work in those games, if you see a referee in the gym and somebody say, there go Clarence over there, Clarence just standing there, and it's timeout or it's halftime, say, Clarence, if you get a chance, man, you can come over and watch me and give me some tips if you don't mind. And don't get in your feelings when Clarence tell you, you got good judgment, but you're not hustling, and you're out of position. Oh, Clarence don't know what he talking about, man. I was on all them. No, you wasn't.
mm-hmm.
When somebody is giving you that type of information, they're not making anything up on you. You did that. Steve's been there. I've been there. Clarence has been there. Jamila's been there. And yeah, sometimes we do get caught up in our feelings because I did.
Me too.
But when you get through with the game and you go back or you get home and you do showering and you just chilling now and you reflecting on the game, I was walking. I wasn't in position. I just didn't want to hear it. And those that want to hear it and those who take it and collect it and say, I'm going to try to work on that, are the ones who go start moving forward. Because like Clarence said, we all miss calls. If you think you go, I don't how many Clarence, how many new people are on this call? Not many.
Yeah, not many, but a few, a
Even
couple.
even the ones who on the call and who have been refereeing. I got a story. It's called I've refereed 3 perfect games, and all 3 of them were forfeits. When I put that shirt on and I go on that floor, I'm not gonna be perfect. I'm gonna try to be perfect. I'm gonna try to be good, but it's not gonna work because we human. We make errors. We not perfect. So whatever I messed up on, the next time I see that play, I guarantee you I'm gonna get it right.
I'm gonna
Because
put
like he
that.
said, basketball is repetition. And that same play that I missed, it's gonna happen again, and it's gonna happen again, and it's gonna happen again. Every now and then you get 1 or 2 plays you say, I never saw that before. And both of those plays were 5 years apart. So in 5 years I saw all the same different plays over and over again. All right, thank you.
Jamila, you want to say something?
I forgot, but
He's talking about the t-shirt.
yeah. Oh, but I'm gonna get that slogan on the t-shirt. What Soup said. I ref 3 perfect games, and they were all forfeits. I'm gonna put that on the shirt.
Yes, please.
But they said the only perfect game you referee is the game that never happened. And that's exactly what he means. Those games never happened. They was
I
four.
just I just wanted to say something too. I'm sitting here listening to the call. My son walks in and he heard you, Andrew, and he said, oh, and when he said he ref 3 perfect games, my son is 24. He said he ref 3 perfect games, and then when you said they were all forfeit, he bust out and laughed. And he says, oh my gosh, he thought you really ref 3 perfect games. So it was hilarious. So actually he did sign up for to be a referee. He did have some challenges, and he just it was really tough for him. And so then I just asked him if he wanted to ref again. He says, well, he wanted to ref with you, Andrew, because then he said that since you did the perfect games, he wants those perfect games too. So I just thought I would share that with you guys.
Thank you so much. That's good. That's good.
All
And
right,
that's what it's about. It's about camaraderie and helping each other get better.
But I hope you don't give up because it's gonna be hard time, but it's gonna be a lot of fun times. So when he stays with it, it's gonna get better and better. Gladys.
No, he's not. He's not that good.
Oh, you know him, Steve?
Yeah, I know him. I'm joking.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
great kid.
we
Great
we all
kid. He
we all
got it from his uncle Steve.
oh, okay. Good. Good. Well, hey, hopefully he'll get the bug to want to come back out there and give it a shot. And again, we are a community and we are here to help each other get better, and hold each other accountable.
Oh,
So
I
like
remember what I was gonna say, Coop. I forgot.
And then I wanted to say he didn't get that from Uncle Steve. He got it from his mom. Steve.
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Steve.
As a kid say, shots fired.
Right.
No, but I wanted to say, it's great that Alicia, she actually has standards when she assigns games over the summer, that you have to be on the court or in her site at a certain time prior to your game. So even during the off season, she's making officials be there on time, and she's serious. If you don't be there on time, you are cut. I
Hmm.
just mentioned that.
Oh,
And not
and,
only
and your pay is cut.
And yes, that
right.
too.
And
That
and again, this is just like your regular job. You keep coming in late, what you think gonna happen? You think they're gonna keep you on staff? No, eventually you gonna get cut, or they're gonna let you go, or whatever the case may be. So I mean, we want to create good habits. This is just like the athletes, they're in the gym during the off season working on their game and in the weight room and conditioning and all that stuff. This is our chance to do the same thing from an officiating standpoint. And so, you know, practice good habits. Getting to your games on time. If you know you're a late person, you need to focus on getting on time. If you know you struggle with certain rules, you need to study those rules more often. If you need to hustle and get in position, You need to do that more often. Like you got to work on your weaknesses so that you can get better. And guess what? And Andrew just mentioned it. Ain't nobody perfect. Steve will tell you, all the veterans that are, Tracy, a few others that's on here, no matter how long you've been refereeing, you can always still work on something. When I hear people like, oh, well, yeah, I don't really have much to work on. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. There's always something you can work on. From the rules knowledge to seeing plays to watching videos, learning how to break down video, communication, like we were just talking about earlier, how to de-escalate situations. I mean, there's always something you can work on. So
and Coop, Coop and I didn't have all these videos when we first started. We had people that was watching the game or somebody that told you how bad you were, and you had to get through it. But wow, everything is on video now, and
I mean, it's a good thing, Steve, but sometimes it's a bad thing too. But I get it.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's always an opportunity to get better.
It is an opportunity, but bad in a way where you're getting like broadcasted on social media when you made a mistake, and that kind of make a person feel bad about themselves at the same time.
Well,
not coming from like a learning or teaching perspective. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get that, and I made some calls in one of the championship games I did, and I got blasted in the newspaper. But what took me out of it is they gave me referee of the year trophy that year, so I didn't feel as bad. I looked at the guy because I happened to see him downtown, and he said, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry about the article." I said, "That's all right. I want to show you something," and it showed in my plaque. It said referee of the year. So you're gonna get that every time you make a call. Somebody's gonna be mad. The call Chris Head made, all of the people at the ball prep think he's the worst official ever, but it was a foul.
It was a great call.
Yeah, well, we know it, but the people at the ball prep don't know it. And then he did a game earlier with East St. Louis. Them fools won their state championship, and they still put a big article on Facebook about him, about how bad he was on their game. So you're gonna get that, and I agree. You get the videos and you get the Facebook posts, social media mess, and you hear that. But it's all about knowing what you do. I watched you come up, and I watched you turn into a fine official. I'm not the only one that see you as a fine official. We remember them first games that you did, though. We remember the first games that we did. Andrew Williams can tell you about all the screw ups he had when we first started. So can I. But look at where we are now. And that's because we put the work together to make ourselves assignable and to make people say, this person can work. Let me make sure I give him or her some tougher games. And that's what it's all about. We got to get more people in the mindset of working like that. That's what we got to do. We got to get people more in the mindset that care about how they look on the court. We got guys out here with black and gray referee shirts, and it's gray from them not washing the shirts. And that's horrible. We got people walking in games in the wintertime with salt crawling up the back of their pants while they're running on the court. We didn't do that back when we started. And I do understand COVID. I do understand that. But just like we said in the past, people take stuff too far, and we haven't had COVID in 4 years, and they still want to do the things we did during COVID. But if you want to make yourself look good, you want to get to where you're going to get, where you want to get as a referee, you got to put in the work. There's another thing that Andrew and I did that is not being done as much as far as I know now. we formed our own little personal study groups. Well, we did a phone call, 8, 9 people on a phone call. We met at somebody's house, got some food and some beer. Hey, let's argue about this rule. What do you think? You know, how you gonna call that? What you gonna call? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And that's just not. We are saturated with people thinking they know what they doing, and they don't. They don't. We
But
are also saturated with people that's not trying to be good at this work that we're doing.
go ahead, Alicia.
Just wanted to say, to chime in on Mimi about the public ridicule. It's not just for officials, it's for assigners as well. Sometimes some people just like to be negative, and we just have to rise above because it makes us stronger and it makes us better.
Agree. Agree.
And you know, I think the one thing we all learned, especially for those who have been officiating for a while, we've been learning from our mentors who've taught us, you got to have thick skin in this business. And that if that thing that's the truth, you got to have thick skin in this business, because if
Especially if your video goes viral like mine did.
that too. I mean, even if it don't go viral, just like Andrew said, sometimes if you might get your peers that may say, "Hey, on such and such a play, what did you see? I saw this. You might want to take a look at that play again."
Mm-hmm.
You got to have thick skin. You have to have a mind to say, "Hey, I'm willing to listen so that I can learn and get better." Not know, "Oh well, I've been doing this for X number of years. I know what I'm doing. You can't tell me what to do."
Right.
That ego is not going to get you anywhere. And not only that, if you're working a game with a crew, your ego can actually hurt your crew and hurt
Yeah.
hurt the outcome of the game, because you might pass on calls that you should be blowing the whistle on, or vice versa, because you're worried about me, myself, and I, and not about the crew or about the team, or because we are a team. When we go out there, we're a team. If it's a 2-person team or a 3-person team, or crew, or however you want to look at it, that's still our team. So we have to individually be on point so that we can make the team look good, and not worry about, like they said, "Oh well, you calling over here to say, yeah, you're supposed to call in your primary. You're supposed to be responsible for your primary. But if you ain't making calls, now that means your partner's got to help you out so that we can stay out of trouble." So there's just a lot to this business that a lot of people don't know. It's a lot to this business that a lot of people, once they start learning, they're like, "Oh, okay, now I see why officials do this, or why they said that, or what have you." I mean, there's former players and people who coach that decide to just at least come and listen and learn, like what some of the things we're talking about tonight, and they have a different perspective. They're like, "Oh yeah, I thought it was a different way, but I got a way different respect for officials now, because you guys really study this is not something we just wake up and put on a uniform and go referee. You have to put the time into this, especially if you work in college ball and high school ball, or if you're fortunate enough to even work at the professional level. You have to be a student of the game, like, all the time. You have to eat, sleep, drink this stuff. If you want to be successful at it. Now we have some officials, that's their goal. They want to try to make it to the WNBA, to NBA, or the G League, or whatever. Some people just want to work college. Some people work high school. Some work rec league. Some work a little bit of both, or a little bit of all, whatever. But the bottom line is, the more levels you want to work, the more you got to put time into this. Because now, if you work in high school and college, guess what? You got to learn 2 different sets of rules, and you got to know how to apply them in the right situation. That's not always easy, but you have to be disciplined enough to know what to do and how to do if you want to be a really good official. So it just takes practice, it's repetition. But at the end of the day, yeah, you can be successful at this. Anybody can, because you're an independent contractor. All of us are independent contractors. I can't sit up here and be like, "Oh well, Steve is holding me back." Steve not stopping me from reading the rule book. Steve not stopping me from exercising and getting in shape. Steve is not stopping me from getting out on that floor, making the right calls in the right situation. Even though Steve might be talking bad about me, that's not going to stop me from doing my part. And trust me, when you're doing a good job, it's going to show. It's going to show. And that's what you have to do. You have to, ignore the naysayers, stay, like you said, rise above all the negativity and just keep grinding, keep grinding, and if the more you keep grinding, the more better success you'll eventually have in this business. All right. Anybody else got anything? Trey, you on the call? You want to say anything to the people on the call? This is Tracy Carruthers. He's a 3 times IHSA state finals official, as well as also one of the MNS Association trainers. Feel free to say a few words, Tracy, if you want.
Hey, everybody on this call. Thing about refereeing is don't be perfect, be good at what you do. That's all that's required. And know the rules. That's all that's required. That is all that's required. I don't have anything else.
Well, Tracy will be at the trainings as well, and I'll tell you this now. Tracy, as well as Andrew, as well as myself, Steve, as veteran officials, I don't care where you are, if you're in the gym, if you in a parking lot, if you at the bar, if we see you, don't be surprised if we ask you a rule and we expect you to know the answer to that rule. Or a play situation, we expect you to know the answer to it, because you always got to be prepared. You always got to know what you need to know. So that's why it's important that you read the rule book and that you study so that you can be prepared to answer questions. Because guess what? When you're in the middle of a game, stuff happens. And it's not like they're going to tell you, oh, this is about to happen. You have to be prepared for anything to happen. And you got to know how to adjudicate those situations when they happen. So this is kind of part of the way, I should say, how we train. So don't be surprised if you get asked questions that's going to challenge your thinking, that's going to make you feel a little uncomfortable. Because some of these heated games you're going to get into, it's going to make you feel a little uncomfortable. But you got to know how to apply the rules. You got to know how to adjudicate the rules and get through the game as smoothly as possible. So, yeah. Anything else, Alicia, you want to chime in with before we head out? Unless somebody else got anything else to say?
Yeah, I got something to say.
Ahead,
Steve got the referee of the year. That was mine.
He took it from you.
Yeah, and I still want it.
Great. All right, go ahead, Alicia, if you had anything.
I just want to say thank you, everyone, for participating and doing this, and especially to those of you all who are on this call, because you have personally helped me in my officiating career. And I know, and I've entrusted you all to do this for me, because what you do for me as an official, I know will be an asset to everybody else. For those of you all who have not had the benefit of working with these gentlemen, please take the feedback and constructive criticism, because it is just that, constructive criticism, and apply it, because it will open doors for you in your officiating career.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, Alicia, by the way, since you mentioned that, can you tell them how you have to leave your egos to the side?
Yes, please leave your egos to the side, because I do every time. As you see, I am the founder of this, and you see, for the majority of this call, I am listening and learning just as you. It is not about what your title is. It's about everybody has something to contribute to make it positive, a positive situation and outcome for everybody. Because at the end of the day, we're one when we're on that court. So I can't look better than you, and you can't look better than me. Either we both gonna look good or we both gonna look bad. That's how it works in this business.
Right. That's right. So, all right. Well, with that being said, if nobody else has anything else, we're going to get ready to call it a night. Again, we're going to meet in person at Phillips High School on Tuesday from 6 to 8. Alicia, do you want to let them know like what door to come in and that sort of thing, what room we're going to be in? You want to let them know
I
about
have
that?
to get the room number,
Okay.
but we're going to be coming in door 4, which is on the street side, the opposite of the parking lot. And we're going to be in the upstairs gym. We're going to be in the room right across. For those of you all that are not familiar, Phillips does have an upstairs gym. And we'll be in the room right across the hall from the gym. What we'll be doing is my team will be practicing from those hours. So it'll be classroom in the beginning, and then you guys will go into the gym and they will run a scrimmage game where we'll be able to do on court um, mechanics and situations. We'll use the guys to be able to do game time situations. So that's what we will be doing on Tuesdays. And on Thursdays, the calls will be done via Zoom, which would include anybody that would like to participate. And as I said before, if you know coaches, ADs, players, and we prefer the players if their coaches participating, because we don't want this to turn into some teenage playing on these calls, because we're going to be serious about these game, learning about this game. Please feel free to have them reach out to us and to share the Zoom link with them so that they will attend, because the more people we get educated, hopefully the better the next season will be.
So they should bring a whistle and a shirt, or just a whistle?
Yeah, they could just bring a whistle and their shoes. So, like I said, they don't have to have a certain shirt. They don't have a t-shirt. It don't matter what they have on, as long as they have on comfortable clothing,
Okay.
to be able to walk on the court or run up and down the court for game time situations. I think Coop, the plan is to get the more newer officials in more than the veterans, but it'll still be court time, because I know a lot of what we witnessed this year. We still have a lot of officials who do not know the four spots and positioning issues. So I know that the guys will be working on things like that with us. So um, if they could just be comfortable and be prepared, you may or may not take the floor. It depends on what the timing situation is. Coop will decide based on the amount of people. They're going to break the groups up. Some may be in classroom while some are on the court, vice versa. But that's why we would like for people to sign in and register, so we know how many people will be attending, because Coop will be doing an agenda with the guys every week. They'll be presenting, different presenters will be presenting different things at different times. So they all won't be talking on the same night. But you might have Vern going over professionalism, while you might have Coop talking about rules. So it might be different sessions. It depends on how many people we get, but that's going to depend on the registration.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and also, if you know anybody that's interested in officiating, reach out to them, bring them, invite them to come out. It's free. If they want to come out and participate. Again, we need more officials. We need more scorekeepers, timekeepers, shot clock, keepers, especially for the upcoming season. So again, this is our chance. Like I said earlier, a lot of athletes work during the off season and the conditioning and going through their drills and things. It's the same thing for officials. We got to do the same thing to get ready for the upcoming season. And this is our chance to do that. So we want to make sure we take advantage of all the time that we can. The reason why we're starting this out now is because, for those that are familiar with the IHSA rule, in the month of June, there's a lot of teams playing as their actual school team. They'll be playing in different, shootouts and things. And also, for an officiating standpoint, there will be a lot of IHSA basketball clinics going on during that time. So again, that's an opportunity to get your IHSA credit, which is necessary for you to have we said go every year, because again the rules change, but the IHSA requirement is that you attend a clinic at least once every 3 years. But because of the rule changes and how the rules are changing so much, it's important that you go every year, in our opinion. So we encourage everybody to go every year. Sometimes you might even go more than just one clinic, because again, you might pick up a couple of, nuggets from this clinic over here, and then some more nuggets from that clinic over there. But the more you can expose yourself to this, the better off you'll be. So, with that being said, again, we're not going to hold you any longer. Thank you for being on the call, and everybody have a great evening. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Night.